Good evening. The children's ward at the Alexandra Hospital in Redditch has closed because of a shortage of doctors. Children needing overnight care will now have to travel to the Worcestershire Royal. That's half an hour away.
The trust which runs the hospital says it's a temporary measure to guarantee the safety of its patients, but campaigners are worried this is another downgrade to their hospital. Charlotte Cross reports.
Smiling and laughing as he plays with his twin brother Jack, this is one of Oscar's good days. Born with a hole in his heart, Oscar had open heart surgery at just a few weeks old, and with ongoing gastrointestinal problems too, he was given an open pass to the children's ward at the Alexandra Hospital in Redditch. That's a journey they have to make all too often.
Oscar's regularly in and out. We can be in there a few times in a month if he gets infections. It's just there, it's just on our doorstep, it's so local. And when Oscar's in there, I've not only got to think of being with him all the time, I've got to think of being with my other children.
They live just a few minutes away from the hospital and the doctors who know him. But as of today, that's all changed. The inpatient children's services are closing and moving to Worcester, and all ambulances carrying children will be diverted there too.
I'm worried about the effects it will have on all of us. We're going to have to drive over to Riverbank if he's admitted, and we're going to have to, one of us is going to have to stay over there, and one of us be at home with the children, which means if he's in for a few days, it means our family being apart. And I'm just worried about the effects that's not only going to have on Oscar, but us as a family when our child's not very well.
Zoe's not the only one who's concerned. Maternity services were closed at the end of last year. Like this, it was billed as a temporary measure due to staff shortages. But without any public consultation, it's become permanent. Campaigners say they're worried it's becoming a pattern.
Personally, I feel physically sick. I think the trust itself and the single biggest failure of this review has all been about how can Worcester Acute Hospitals Trust survive. It has not been about how can the NHS best provide services across Worcestershire and the surrounding areas.
But Worcestershire Acute Hospitals Trust, which runs the Alex, insists moving to the Royal really is the best way forward.
Is this necessary?
Yes, we wouldn't be taking this action unless we had to. Had we have carried on trying to stretch ourselves very thinly, we would have had rota gaps, and when patients would have attended the Alex, we wouldn't have been able to give them the care that they needed. So we've had to do this on emergency grounds and for patient safety reasons.
And with these changes that have come in today, will children be safe?
Children will be a lot safer under this system than if we'd have done nothing. What we can never do, we can never guarantee absolute, safety for every single patient, but we can certainly do the very best we can, and this is a lot safer than had we have done nothing at all.
He said there would be a public consultation over the changes in time, but until then, families like Oscar's will spend less time together and more time travelling to get the help they need.
While Charlotte joins us now. Charlotte, you mentioned there a public consultation. Is this really a temporary measure?
Well, that is the official line that the Trust is giving out. Campaigners and families, of course, have their doubts, especially with what happened to the maternity services last year. I met the Trust's Chief Executive earlier today and I did ask him that question. Essentially, he can't legally give us an answer at this point. He has to wait for the public consultation to happen. They have to go through that process. But what he says is the medical advice stands. It's not safe. He's saying the way the services were run before, it wasn't safe to keep them going across the two hospitals. So really, his word was, it's unlikely that the service will return in the way people have known it in the past.
OK, Charlotte, thanks very much. It looks like the Education Secretary might be ready to expand the grammar